This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about the email templates, and we have discussed how to configure the email templates in Salesforce and how can we send the email notifications to the people through email templates we have discussed. Now, so today we'll see how can we configure the automated processes with the help of workflow rules. We'll see practically. Now, so let's see what exactly a workflow rule, what is the use, how can we configure the workflow rules in Salesforce, and what type of actions we can configure through workflow rules. What type of workflow rules are available in Salesforce and how to configure each and every type, we'll see practically in this case. Now, so that already you know the concept of process builder. What is the use of process builder? Process builder is used to automate certain actions to be get performed as part of our organization processes. So as part of our organization processes, we can automate some certain actions with the help of process builder, like the similar way we are having this workflow rules. But the process builder is an advanced one. Workflow rules are the old one. What are the actions we are doing with the help of workflow rules? Same actions we can do with process builder and with some additional actions also. Okay, then we'll see what exactly these workflow rules we'll see practically. Like previously we have discussed, whenever I'm going to be depositing some money inside my bank account, immediately I'm getting some email alert. And whenever you are reserving some movie ticket, I'm receiving some email alert. Whenever I'm reserving some travel ticket, I'm receiving some email alert. Whenever my credit card bill has been generated, I'm receiving some email alert. How? So these will be implemented because of workflow rule or process builder. Anyone we can use. But initially, Salesforce has given that workflow rule, and then later they have implemented the most advanced one, that is process builder. Now, we'll see that workflow rules concept also, because in some cases, in the entry point of view, they will raise a question. So what is the difference between workflow rules and process builder? It's a common question. So at that time, you should be aware of what is a workflow rule, what we can do through workflow rules, what are the limitations or drawbacks in workflow rule, how can we avoid through process builders. Process builder concept already we know. Okay, now we should be aware of workflow rules also. So workflow rules are used to automate some certain processes as part of your organization. By using workflow rules, we can automate certain actions as part of our organizations. That means in order to implement some automated processes, we are using workflow rules. Okay, in order to implement some automated processes, we are using workflow rules. That means instead of performing the operations manually by our own, we can make some certain things to be get automated. Some operations will be getting performed automatically by default by my system itself, my application itself. So at that time, we can go with the help of workflow rules. Now, workflow rules are used to automate or to implement the automated processes inside the organization. That is, by using workflow rules, we can make certain actions. To be get performed automatically. That is, Instead of performing the operations, manually as part of the organization policies, we can make certain operations to be get executed automatically by default. That means instead of performing the operations manually by our own, instead of invoking by a human being person manually, we can make some certain operations can be automated. We can make certain operations can be executed automatically by default. So with the help of workflow rules. Now, so whenever we are going to be configuring the workflow rules, okay, whenever we are configuring the workflow rule, what a workflow rule contains? Okay, what a workflow rule contains? Each and every workflow rule contains two things. Okay, every workflow rule contains two things. What is that? The first one is a criteria, second one is actions. Each workflow rule contains two things. One is a criteria, that means event, second one is actions. Like for example, let me explain a general scenario. Assume that today a customer has raised a case. Today, a customer made a call to the customer care to raise a complaint because he is facing some problem with my product, so he is raising a complaint. So he made a call to the customer care and then he has explained the whole problem which he is facing, and then he has requested to that customer care executive, boss, this is a problem which I'm facing with your product. Still I'm in the warranty period, so please raise a case on behalf of me so that one of your service person will resolve the problem. So once a customer's case has been getting registered, immediately it will be sending one email notification to the customer's email ID. Dear customer, your case has been registered successfully. This is your case ID, this is the case subject, this is the case status, and this is one of our service person will contact you shortly. So it is sending one email notification when once a case record has been created. That means after creating the case record, once a case record has been created successfully, immediately my workflow will fire. It will be sending some email notifications. That means what? There is an event. Event means what? Occasion. When you want to fire this workflow rule. When you want to fire this workflow rule, once a record is created. Okay, once the record is created, after creating the record, once the case has been registered successfully, then only those people will take some actions. Not before creating the case. After creating the case, once the case has been created successfully, then they will take some actions on that case. They will assign some service person to resolve that case. So that is nothing but the case record is created. That means that is nothing but an event. That is nothing but an occasion. So case is created. Then what will be the action? What you want to do? Immediately, I want to send some notification to the customer. Dear customer, your case has been registered successfully. So no need to worry about your case. So now one of our service sponsor will contact you shortly. So we are going to be sending some actions. When we are sending the action, once the case has been created. So that here created is nothing but an event, an occasion. Like for example, you are receiving some alert whenever your bank transaction here. Whenever you are depositing the money, so you will be getting that some email alert. You will be getting some SMS alert. When before depositing the money or after depositing the money? After. Assume that my balance value is my balance value is some 12,000 rupees. So now I'm depositing some 2,000 rupees right now. I'm depositing 2,000. What will be my balance value? 14,000. That means the balance value will be 14,000. That means previously my balance value is 12,000. Now it has been updated to 14,000. That means once a record is updated, once your balance has been updated, immediately it will send some email notification and SMS notification. That means what? Whenever the operation has been done, after performing the operation, that means after creating the record, after updating the record, you will be receiving some notifications. Okay, you will be receiving some notifications. Now, So now here in this case, what will happen when coming to the workflow rule? Each and every workflow rule will be having two things. First one is a criteria. That means that is also called as event. That is also called as event. Second one is actions. Okay, actions. Now, each workflow rule contains two things as below. First one is an event. This is also called as evaluation criteria. Evaluation criteria. So what do you mean by this event? Event is nothing but an occasion or a situation when the workflow rule has to find. Okay, now it describes when the workflow rule should get filed. When the workflow rule should get filed. Now, second one, actions. Not only one, multiple actions also add. Now, so once the workflow rule has been filed, then we can invoke one or more actions. Once the workflow rule has been filed, we can able to file one or more actions. Okay, so once the workflow rule has been filed, then we can file one or more number of actions also. That possibility is available. So each workflow rule contains two things. First one is an event which describes when the workflow rule has to be get filed. Second one, actions which indicates what operations the workflow will do. Once the workflow has been filed, what it will do, what operations it will do, that is nothing but action. So it is indicating once the workflow has been filed, then we can able to invoke one or more number of actions to perform the various operations as part of our business needs. We can invoke one or more actions to perform the operations as part of the business requirement. As part of the business requirement, we can able to perform some operations. Then, what are the various events are available for the workflow? What are the various events are available for the workflow? As part of Salesforce, Salesforce is providing three criteria or the three events for the workflow rules. Now, Salesforce provides the below three criteria for the workflow. So each and every workflow rule will be having a criteria. So now when coming to the Salesforce, it is giving three criteria from which we can select any one of that. Okay, from which we can select any one of this. Then what are the various criteria are available as part of this workflow rule? Now let me explain. The first one is created. Second one, created and every time it is edited. Third one, created and any time it is edited and meeting subsequent criteria. Okay, subsequent criteria. These are the three criteria are available. Whenever we are going to be preparing the workflow rule, we have to indicate when the workflow rule has to be get filed. So at that time, we have to select that criteria. Okay, at that time, we have to select this criteria, which will be indicating when that workflow rule has to be get filed. Now, so at that time, we have to select any one of these criteria. Created. What do you mean by created? Created is indicating that whenever you are creating a record inside this object, then please find this workflow rule. Okay, please find this workflow rule. So created means what? A new record has been created. See, observe this one, created, that means past tense. Okay, past tense, nothing but once a record has been created, after creating the record, after, not before. Okay, not before. Because already we have discussed about the validation rules concept. Validations will fire when? Before insertion, before updation. But the workflow will fire always after insertion, after updation. You know, assignment rules, those are also firing when? After insertion, after updation. Sharing rules, after insertion, after updation. Process builder, after insertion, after updation. Like the similar way, workflows are also firing after insertion, after updation, not before. Only the validation rules will be firing on before insertion and the before updation. Remaining all the process will fire on after insertion or after updation. Now, so now here in this case, when coming to that workflow rules, each and every workflow rule will be having a criteria and it will be having one or more actions. So as part of this criteria, this is also called as evaluation criteria and it is also called as event. Okay, this is also called as event. Then, so when coming to the workflow rules over here, so what do you mean by this criteria? They created, that means whenever a new record has been created inside the workflow rule, then it will fire that action. That means what? This created is an event, nothing but occasion, which is indicating this criteria will invoke the workflow rule once a new record has been created inside the object. Once a record has been created successfully, after creating the record only, it will fire the workflow rule. Now, this event will fire the workflow rule. Workflow rule once a new record has been created inside the object. Only at the time of creating the record. Once a record has been created, it will fire the workflow rule. If the record is updated, it won't fire. Okay. If the record is updated, it won't fire. Only at the time of creation. Now, second one. The second criteria is created and every time it is edited. That means what? Created. That means after creating the record. Every time it is edited. Edited means past tense again. That means after updating that. So whenever you are creating the record and whenever you are updating the record, in both the cases, workflow rule will get fired. In this case, it will fire the workflow rule after inserting a new record and then after updating an existing record also inside your object. So this criteria will fire the workflow rule after inserting a new record, after updating this existing record as well. This event will fire the workflow rule after inserting a new record and after updating an existing record in the object. So once a new record has been created inside the object and once an existing record has been updated inside the object, then in both the cases it will fire this workflow rule. Now, so third one, created and any time it is edited in meeting subsequent criteria. That means what? When coming to the workflow rule will be getting fired when created. That means after creating a record. And then any time it is edited in meeting subsequent criteria. That means upon updating the record, whatever the conditions, whatever the criteria that are specified, if these conditions are met, then only the workflow rule will fire upon updation. Okay, so upon creating the record, it will fire, and upon updating the record, if the specified conditions has been met, then only it will fire that workflow rule. Okay, now this event will fire the workflow rule once a new record has been created inside the object and once an existing record has been updated in the object which meets the specified criteria. which meets the specified criteria. That means what? Created and any time it is edited. That means what? Once a record has been created successfully and once a record has been updated successfully, which meets the specified conditions, then the workflow rule will fire. These are the three criteria are available for the workflow rule. That means upon firing that workflow rules, we have to indicate. Okay, upon firing this workflow rules, we have to indicate when this workflow rule has to be get fired. When the rule has to be get fired, that will be indicated through the criteria. This is also called as event. This is also called as evaluation criteria. So now every workflow rule contains a criteria or the event, which indicates when the rule should fired. Okay, when the rule will get fired. Okay, when the rule will get fired, that will be indicating by workflow rule. Now, so in this case, as part of this workflow rule, we have three criteria surrounding. First one, created. That means what? Whenever you are creating a record inside that object, after creating the record, created, that means past tense. Already over. Operation is already over. That means record is already created. Once the record has been created inside the object, it will fire the workflow rule. Now, so in this case, what happened? Whenever a record has been created inside the object, immediately it will fire the workflow rule. And then in that workflow rule, we can specify what operations you want to do, what actions you want to perform, everything we can able to specify inside that workflow rule. Next, second one, created and every time it is edited. That means what? Created, that means after creating the record also it will fire the workflow rule, and then after updating the record also it will fire the workflow rule. Not only at the time of creation, after updating the record inside that record object also it will fire the workflow rule. And the third one, created and any time it is edited and meeting subsequent criteria. That means once the record has been created successfully and once the record has been updated successfully, which is meeting the specified criteria at that time, workflow will fire. So these are the three criteria from which we can select only one, not multiple. So now, so once upon creating that workflow rule, we have to specify the criteria. Now, so now created and any time it is edited. So upon creating the record, the workflow will fire, and upon updating the record, if the specified conditions has been met, the workflow rule will fire. These are the three criteria are available for the workflow rule from which we can select any one of these. Now, the actions. So now whenever the workflow rule has been fired, what kind of actions we can perform? What kind of operations we can perform? Not only one, multiple actions also we can perform. Through workflow rule, once a workflow rule has been fired, we can perform one or more number of actions also. So what are the various actions we can perform? Now let's see. We can perform the below actions through workflow rules. We can perform the below actions through workflow rules. So what are the various actions we can perform? Now let's see practically. Now, so through workflow rules, we can able to perform 4 types of actions. Let me explain what type of action. First one, email alert. Second one, field updates. Third one, assigning a task. Fourth one, outbound message. Outbound messages. These are the 4 types of actions we can automate through workflow rules. So workflow rules allows us to perform these 4 types of actions. Okay, workflow rules allows us to perform these 4 types of actions. Then what are the various actions we can perform? First one is email alert. Second one, field update. Third one, assigning a task. Fourth one, outbound message. These are the 4 types of actions. Then what do you mean by email alert? By using this email alert action, we can send an email notification to that required people, okay, by using a pre-existing email template. So with the help of this email alert action, we can send an email notification to the required people. To the required user, we can send an email notification by using a pre-existing email template. That means by using a already existed email template, we can send the email notification to the required people. So with the help of this email alert action, we can send the email notification to 1 or more number of users with the pre-existing email template. So we should have an email template. In that email template, we have to specify what subject needs to be delivered, what content needs to be delivered. Okay, what subject you want to send, what email content you want to send. Just you can able to prepare that subject and content inside your email template and use that email template to send the notification through workflows. Okay, now by using this action, we can send an email notification to 1 or more users by using a pre-existing email template. So whenever if you want to send the email notifications to the people through workflow rules, email template is a mandatory. So the prerequisite. Okay. To send the email alerts to the users, we need an email template. We need an email template. That is a mandatory principle. So by using these workflow rules, we can send an email notification to the required people. Okay, not only to one, to the multiple people also. We can send the email notification by using a pre-existing email template. By using the ready-made email template, we can send the email notifications to 1 or more number of users. Next, second one, field updates. So what do you mean by this field update action? By using this field update action, we can update a field value. In a record, we have a field that may be any field, a text field, picklist field, whatever, anything. There is a field is available inside that object. That field value we can update through automatically. With the help of this workflow rules, we can able to update a field value automatically. That means instead of updating that field value manually by our own, we can make it automated. Okay, we can make it automated with the help of workflow rules. Okay, through workflow rules, we can update a field value by assigning a new value for that field. Instead of having that old value, we can assign some new value also for that field. That possibility is there. The two, by using this field update action, we can update only one field, not multiple. Okay, by using this field update action, we can update only one field, not multiple. To update the multiple fields, we need to use multiple field update actions. Okay, to update that multiple fields, we have to use multiple field update actions. So to update 2 fields, we have to use 2 field update action. To update 3 fields, we have to use 3 field update actions. To update 10 fields, we need 10 field update actions. Like that here, depends upon the number of fields you want to update, those many number of actions we need to add. But in this case, if the number of fields are more, then workflow won't support. Okay, if the number of fields are more to update, then workflow will not support. I will tell you what are those limitations also. We'll see as part of this concept. By using this action, we can update a field value by assigning the new value of the field. Now, note 5, I'm indicating. By using field update action, we can update only one field value in the record. To update multiple field values, we need to add multiple field update actions. Hence, it will increase the complexity in the application, which leads to performance issues. So whenever if you want to update the more number of fields, then workflows are not suitable. We can go with triggers. Triggers is one of the concept of development. As part of development, we are discussing about Apex programming language. As part of Apex programming language, we can able to update the fields through by writing some code, by using some statements, by writing some logic through Apex programming language. We can write some code and we can able to update n number of fields also. So as part of development concept, okay, we are having a programming language called as Apex programming language. In that Apex programming language, we have a feature called as a triggers feature. Through the triggers feature, we can able to update a number of fields also in one shot. That possibility is there. That is more faster than workflow loops. But workflows are purely configurable, nothing but without writing any code, we can do that. But triggers require some coding part. We have to write some code. We have to write some logic through programming. Okay, by using Apex programming, we need to write some logic. That is the difference. Suppose if the client is okay, boss, I don't want development, I want only admin part, so you can implement through workflows also, no problem. Even if it is giving less performance, I will manage that. If the client is having no issues, as a developer, we don't have an issue. We can implement as it is. Suppose if the client says, boss, please go with development, then we can implement that by writing some code. Why? Because for the admin part, billing is different. Okay, billing is different. That means if I'm working for that client for a project, okay, if I'm working for a particular requirement, for example, there is a requirement. Requirement 1, which is admin related. There is one more requirement 2. It is related to development. Okay, development. So I did this implementation for 1 hour. This is 1 hour requirement. That means to complete that requirement, I have charged 1 hour. To complete this development requirement, I have charged 1 hour. So here this is purely okay by using nose pointer. Here we need to write some code. For that one, the client will be charging for the admin part. They are charging $100 per hour. Okay, $100 per hour. If it is a development, they're charging $160 per hour. There is the difference. Let's see. If it is admin part, billing is different. If it is a development part, billing is different. So that's what your client want to save the budget. That's what he will always ask you, boss, please go with admin part. Don't go with development. If the admin is not at all possible, then only go with the development part. Then let me know. I will verify that. I will approve that budget. Based on that, I will approve the budget. Okay, blindly you can't write every code by using that programming language. I don't want to waste my money. I want to utilize my money efficiently because I'm having some budget constraint. Now, in this case here, whenever we are going to working on that implementation, always you have to think in the admin mind first. That means check into that admin part if there is any admin feature is there to implement this or not. If the admin feature is available, implement. If it is not available, go with the development. Okay. Then we have to implement the functionality based on the client approval. We can able to implement that feature. Okay. Because the client is also looking for budget. Okay. How many hours they are charging? Based on that, they have to pay that amount over here. For the admin, there is a different billing. For the development, there is a different. Okay, that's what. Now, so in this case here, so now by using this field update action, we can update only one field at a time, not multiple. To update more number of fields, we need more number of field update actions, so that here it will take more time because it is occupying the more actions. So that the number of actions are more, automatically workflow will be looking like as complex. So to execute that, it will take more time. It is causing some performance issues. Now, in this case, whenever if you want to update more number of fields, we have to go with triggers as part of Apex program. To update more number of fields, workflow field updates are not recommended to use. We have to implement through triggers by using Apex program. By using Apex programming, we can implement through triggers. Now, so this is a way. So that here, by using this email alert action, we can send the email notifications to the people. By using field update actions, we can update the fields inside that object. Now, next one, assigning a task. By using this action, we can assign a task record to the user. What do you mean by a task? Task is nothing but an activity. It is nothing but an alert. It is nothing but a reminder. Generally, inside your mobile, we are putting some alarms. Okay, generally in the mobiles, we are putting some alarms. Okay, to wake up early morning, regarding an operation, regarding an action. We are going to be adding some alerts. We are adding some reminders inside your mobile. So, like the similar way, in our Salesforce instance also, we can able to add some alerts. We can add some reminders inside my Salesforce application also with the help of a task. So now in this case, we can assign a task to the user. Like for example, whenever we are going to be working in the real-time environment, suppose every day evening you will be having some client calls. Evening at 6 o'clock, you will be having some client calls. So that 5:45 p.m. you will be getting one alert. You will be getting one alert, okay, inside your application, which will be indicating that. So now we have a client call at 6 o'clock in so-and-so conference room from so-and-so time to so-and-so time. These are the attendees are available. So it will be giving some alert. It is giving some pop-up alert to you. It is giving some small window to you, like as a dialog box, which will be indicating, boss, you have a small meeting right now at 6 o'clock. So that please be ready to attend the meeting in so-and-so conference. So it will be giving some reminder to you. Like the similar way, if you want to show some reminders, if you want to add some alerts, we are going to be using the help of assigning a task action. Now, by using this action, we can assign a task record to the user with the specified subject, description, status, priority, and due date. Now, so that it will remind the people, with a pop-up alert. With a pop-up alert. By using a pop-up alert, by using a pop-up window, by using a small dialog box, it will be reminding to the people, boss, you have a meeting right now. Okay, boss, we have a meeting right now, so please get ready for the meeting at 6 o'clock in so conference. Now, in this case, by using this assigning a task action, we can assign a task record to the user. That possibility is available. Now, so in this case, the next action type is outbound message. So what do you mean by this outbound message? Outbound message is nothing but an action which is used to send an XML-based message to the third-party systems. Basically, this feature is comes under integration. Okay, this comes under integration where we can integrate two different systems. Okay, we can integrate two different systems. We can provide the communication between the two different applications. Two softwares can communicate with each other, like as Java to Salesforce, Salesforce to Java, Salesforce to mainframe, Salesforce to Siebel, Salesforce to Oracle. Like that, we can provide the communication between the two applications through integration. At that time, we are using the help of outbound message. Outbound message is an action which is used to send some XML-based message to the external system. XML means what? Extensible markup language. This is one of the common language which can be understandable by all the programming languages. Okay, XML is a common format or a universal notation which will be understanding by all the programming languages, all the technologies, all the databases, all the operating systems, and all the platforms also. That's what here we can send some XML based message to the third party system or external system with the help of this action. This action is used to send an XML based SOAP message to the external system. This action is used to send an XML based SOAP message to the external system to have the integration. To have the integration with the third party systems. The third party systems. These are the four types of actions we can perform through workflow rules. Now it is a common question in every interview. So what are the criteria and actions are available for workflow? For the workflow rule, we have three criteria are available. First one is created. Second one, created and every time it is edited. Third one, created and any time it is edited and meeting subsequent criteria. These are the three criteria are available. Through workflow rule, what are the various actions we can perform? We can send email alerts. We can update the fields also. We can assign a task also. And we can send an outbound message also. These are the four types of actions we can automate through workflows. But when you go to the process builder, so many actions. We can perform this four. Along with that, we can invoke the Apex class also. We can submit the record for the approval also. And we can able to update the records also. We can create the records also. We can invoke another process also. Like that, so many actions are available in process builder. That's what your process builder is the most advanced one. Then workflow. Workflow is the older one. But in some cases, in some application, which are very old applications are there, still the people are using workflow. That's what I'm discussing about this topic. Okay, that's what I'm discussing about this topic. Or this topic is a outdated one. Nobody is using nowadays. Everybody is using process builder. But sometimes in the entry pointer, if they ask, then you can able to explain that. That's what I'm giving this topic. Basically not required, because here everybody is going with that process builder, not workflow rules. No. So now in this case, where we can see this workflow rules. In this case, I'm indicating this. Whenever you are going to be creating the workflow rule, each workflow rule should be associated with an object. Same concept. Whenever if you're creating a sharing rule, you're selecting some object, right? Whenever you are creating a process builder, you're selecting some object, right? Like the similar way, each workflow rule should be associated with a object. But on a single object, we can create multiple workflow rules also. Okay, each workflow rule should be associated with a object. But on a single object, we can create multiple workflow rules also. That possibilities are available. Each workflow rule should be associated with an object. But a workflow rule can have one or more objects. But a workflow rule can have one or, sorry, but a object can have, sorry. But an object can have one or more workflow rules. Each workflow rule should be associated with an object, but an object can have one or more number of workflow rules also. But possibilities are available. Then where we can see all the workflow rules, we can see the workflow rules by using a navigation. We can go to the setup menu, go to the build menu in the left panel, click on create, go to the workflow and approvals, and in that we are having that option called as workflow rules. We have an option called as workflow rules, and from there we can able to see the workflow rules which you have created in the past, or else you can create your own new workflow rule. So that possibilities are available. So in this case, whenever if you want to create the workflow rules on a specific object, then we have to go with this navigation. Go to the setup menu, go to the build menu in the left panel, click on create, go to the workflows and approvals, and then create workflow rules. Now, in this case, whenever we are going to be creating the workflow rules, we have two types of workflow rules available. Salesforce provides two types of workflow rules. First one is immediate action workflow rules. Second one, time dependent action workflows. Immediate action workflow rules. Second one, time dependent action workflow rules. So what do you mean by immediate action? Immediate means immediately, real time, on the spot, immediately. We can fire that workflow rule. So whenever if you are firing the workflow rule, immediately as soon as the criteria has been met, whenever the conditions has been satisfied, immediately I want to fire that workflow rule. Like for example, let me explain. Today I'm depositing some money. Just now I'm depositing some money. When you will get the message? After half an hour? After 1 hour? After 1 day? No, immediately. Once the money has been deposited, immediately I'm getting the message. Whenever I'm withdrawing the money from ATM or from bank transaction, whatever, anything through online also, whenever I'm withdrawing the money, immediately I'm getting that notification. Whenever I'm reserving the movie ticket, immediately I'm getting the email notification regarding my ticket details. Whenever I'm reserving some travel ticket. Immediately I'm getting that email notification regarding my travel, okay, travel plan. That means what? These are firing the actions immediately. So at that time, if you want to fire the actions immediately, then we can go with that immediate action workflow rules. So these workflow rules will fire the actions immediately as soon as the criteria has been met. Now, these workflow rules will fire the actions immediately as soon as the criteria has been met. Whenever the workflow criteria has been met, immediately the actions will be getting fired. Okay, whenever the criteria has been met, immediately the actions will be getting performed. These kind of workflows are called as immediate action workflow rules. So what is this time dependent action? Time dependent means after some specific time period. Okay, after some specific time period. Like, for example, once a criteria has been met, after some specific time period, it will be firing that workflow. Like, for example, here, assume that I'm depositing some money. As part of my bank policy, my bank will be running from morning 8 o'clock to night 8 o'clock. Night 8 o'clock. So it's a 12 hours banking. So now in this particular period of time, at any point of time, you can perform the transaction. But the bank is having some policy that, so now whenever you are depositing some money from morning 8 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. Evening 6 p.m. Whenever you are depositing the money, it will be reflecting into your account immediately. Okay, immediately it will be reflecting that account amount. Suppose if you are depositing the money, okay, after 6 p.m. in the evening, then this amount will be getting reflected. This amount will be getting reflected on the next day business hours. Next day business hours. Okay, it will be reflecting into your account, okay, in the next day business hours. So like that, here they will be having some bank policies are available. At that time, what happened? Even though I'm depositing the money right now, it will not be depositing into that amount, okay, immediately. It will be reflecting after some specific time period. It will be reflecting then after that some specific time period. So this is the way. That means what? Whenever if you want to find some action after some specific time period, then we can able to go with that time dependent actions. Like you will be receiving some notification regarding your credit card bill. So now here, as soon as whenever your credit card bill has been generated, immediately you will be getting the notification. Dear customer, your credit card bill has been generated. So this is the due amount and this is the due date. So they keep on sending some reminder notifications to you. Okay, they keep on sending some reminder notification to you 10 days before the due date, 5 days before the due date, 2 days before the due date. They keep on sending some notifications. So these kind of notifications they're sending how? By using time dependent action. These are taking some time after some specific time period, they're firing these actions over here. After some time period, they're firing these actions. No. So in this case, time-dependent actions will be getting fired, okay, after the specific time period. Either it may be after, it may be either before also. We can able to specify that. So in this case, time-dependent actions will be getting fired after the specific time period. Even though the criteria has been met after the specific time period or before the specific time period, these actions will be getting fired over here. So at that time, if you want to file some action based on some specific time period, then we can go with the help of time-dependent action workflow rules. Now, so in this case, These workflow rules will fire the actions either after or before the specified time period. After meeting the criteria. After meeting the specified criteria, once the criteria has been met, after that it is going to be executing these actions after the specified time period as well. So at that time, we can use the help of time-dependent action workflow rules. These are the two types of workflow rules are available in Salesforce. So immediate action workflow rules, time-dependent action workflow rules. These time-dependent action workflow rules are also called as time triggers. These are also called as time triggers in Salesforce. So now don't get confused with the word because it is having the word trigger. So trigger is a development concept. Don't think about that. If they ask the question, what do you mean by time trigger? Then explain that information about time-dependent action workflow rules. That means these are also the workflow rules which will be firing the action after some specific time period. Instead of firing the actions immediately, it will fire these actions either after or before the specified time period. So at that time, we can go with the time-dependent action workflow rules. Okay. Now, in this case, how can we configure the workflow rule inside the Salesforce instance? Okay, now let's see practically. Now, let's take a small use case. First of all, let me show you where is this workflow rules feature is available. So let's go to our Salesforce instance. Let's go to that build menu, click on create, workflows and approvals. Workflows and approvals, click on that link, workflow rules. So we have an option called as workflow rules. Click on this workflow rules. Here it is giving some information over here, what exactly workflow rules, what is the use, we can able to see that information, some basic information they have given. Click on continue. Here we can able to create the workflow rules. We haven't created any workflow rules as of now, so that it is indicating no records to display. Okay, we don't have any workflow rules right now, so it is indicating that simply empty. Now I want to create the workflow rules. Okay, now I want to create the workflow rules. How can we create the workflow rules right now? Now let's see practically in this case. Okay, now. So let's take a small use case. So let me verify what email templates are available right now inside my organization. Do we have any process builders right now? Let me verify. If we have, I will deactivate that so that both will fire. That's what. We don't have any process builders right now. Fine, no problem. Now, so let's take a small use case. Configure a workflow rule on the contact object to send an email notification to the contact person upon creating a new contact record. Upon creating a new contact record, I want to send an email notification to that contact person's email ID here. Okay, to the contact person's email ID, I want to send an email notification. Then how can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. So whenever I'm creating a new workflow rule, okay, whenever I'm creating a new contact record inside my object, immediately I want to send an email notification to the contact person's email ID by default here. Then how can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. Now let me show you that, okay, use case requirement. So for example, I'm creating a new contact record right now. I'm entering some data to create a new contact like as first name, last name, and the title, department, phone number, fax number, email ID, everything. Once I click on save button, immediately my contact record has to be get created. Once the contact record has been created, then whatever the email ID value I have entered inside this email field, whatever the email ID value I have entered in this email field, to this email ID, I want to send an email notification alert. I want to send one email notification over here to this email ID of that contact. Now, let's see in this case here, how can we do that? So let me give my analysis here. First of all, prepare your analysis. That means what needs to be done to implement this use case. So now tell me on what object we need to create the workflow rule on the contact object, because whenever I'm creating a new contact record, I want to send the email notification. Now, so what is the evaluation criteria? When you want to find the workflow rule, I want to find the workflow rule whenever a record is created. Okay, I want to find the workflow rule whenever a record is created. So what is the rule condition? That means before firing the action, before sending the email notification, what you want me to verify to send the email notification, email ID should be exist, right? Without the email ID, to whom do I need to send the email notification? For that one, I want to make sure that inside my contact records, email ID field value not equals to null. That means email field value should not be null. Compulsorily, it should have some value. Next. The action type. What type of actions you want to do? Either immediate or time dependent. Immediate. I want to do that immediate actions. So what is the action name you want to do that? I want to send that email alert. Okay, I want to send one email alert. So whenever if you want to send the email notification, we need some email template, right? Yes. Okay, we need a email template. So the prerequisite is we should have an email template. We should have an email template. So already we have an email template inside our organization. So inside our organization, already we have one email template. Let me show you that email template first. So now this is the email template. New contact record creation notification template. This is the email template already we have prepared as part of email templates concept. So this is the email template is there, which is having the subject and the content is available inside. You can use that same email template, no problem. Now, so this is my use case over here. Okay, this is my use case which I would like to implement as part of my application requirement. So now I would like to create a workflow rule on my contact object right now, which will be having these criteria. So this is my analysis part. We are done with the analysis part. Now we are going to be implementing this. So now let's see practically how can we create this workflow rule, okay, on my contact object to send the notification to the contact person's email ID. How can we do that? So let's go to that workflow rules. Go to that create inside the build. Go to the workflow rules and approvals. Click on workflow rules. Okay, click on workflow rules. So now click on continue button. So now it is indicating what are the workflow rules that you have configured as of now. So we haven't created any workflow rules as of now, so that it is indicating empty. Okay, this table is empty because we haven't created any workflow rules as of now. So click on new rule button to create a new workflow. Click on new rule. Now select the object name on which you would like to create the workflow. I want to create the workflow rule on my contact object. So select the object name as contact. Select the object name as contact. As part of our requirement, already we did the analysis. We need to create the object, we need to create the workflow rule on contact object. Because upon creating the contact record only, we are sending the notification. So we are creating the workflow rule on contact. Suppose upon creating the case, if you want to send the notification, then we have to create the workflow rule on case object. Based on that object, we have to create the workflow. Now, select the object as contact and then click on next button. Specify the rule name and the description. I'm indicating some new rule name over here. CIS. So new contact record creation notification rule. So I'm indicating that workflow rule name as CIS, new contact record creation notification rule. That means I'm creating the workflow rule in order to send the email notification upon creating a new contact record inside my object. Now, we can give any name, we can give any description, no problem. And then select that evaluation criteria. That means when you want me to find the workflow rule. So now here we are having three options are available. Created, and every time it is edited, and then created and any time it is edited and meeting subsequent criteria. These are the three criteria are available over here. Now what is my requirement? Upon creating a new contact record, I want to send the email notification. So that I'm selecting the criteria as created. So select the option as created. Next. Now what is the rule conditions? What kind of conditions you would like to verify right now here? Rule criteria. What is the conditions you want to cross-check? I want to cross-check that before firing the action, I want to verify whether the contact records email ID value not equals to null. That means just leave it as blank. That means blank means null. That means if the contact records email ID value not equals to empty. That means if there is any email ID value is there, then I want to send the email notification to the contact person. So now click on save and so now what you want to do, I want to send some email notification. When? Immediately, not after some time, immediately. So you will be having two sections are there. Go to that immediate workflow actions section. You will be having one more section, time dependent actions section. Two sections are available. Which action you want to create? Immediate action, because whenever a new contact record is created, immediately I want to send the email notification to that contact person. So that you can go to that immediate workflow action, then select the action type. What is that action you would like to create right now? It is indicating these are the actions we can create. We can assign some new task. We can send the email alert. We can update a field. We can send a outbound message. These are the 4 types of actions we can able to configure through workflow. What is my action now? I want to send the email notification. So click on new email alert. Click on new email alert and then specify the description. This process already you know as part of process builder, nothing different, same concept. Now, description I'm indicating that send new email notification to contact person alert. So now I'm indicating that. So now send that email notification to the contact person. So for that one, I'm going to be creating that alert over here. Unique name will be getting prepared by Salesforce. Now select the email template. Which email template you want me to use to send the notification? Okay, which email template you want me to send? You want me to use to send the notification? Select the email template. So now I would like to use that new contact record creation notification template. This is the email template which we have prepared in the previous sessions as part of email templates concept. So I'm using the same template. Now select that. Okay, select the recipient type. Okay, select the recipient type. Recipient type will be email field. Okay, recipient type will be email field. And then which email ID, based on the email ID I want to send the email notification. So with this email type, we have one email field is available inside my contact object over here. Okay, we are having one email ID field inside my contact object. So that to that email ID, I want to send the email notification. Now, so now select that contact email ID here. Okay, this is the email field. Select that selected recipient as email ID. That means whatever the email ID field is available inside my contact object, that email ID field we have selected. That means in this email field, whatever the email ID that I have entered, to that email ID, I want to send the email notification. Now, so now here in this case, so now here in this case, depends upon that email value, email ID value inside this email field, I want to send the email notification. And then specify that CC copy addresses. That means here I would like to send the email notification to the contact person's email ID. In my contact object, there is an email field is available. This is the email field is there. In this email field, whatever the email ID that I have entered, to that email ID, I want to send the email notification. Along with that, if you want to send one CC copy to a specific email ID, we can add the CC addresses also up to 5. Okay, up to 5 email addresses we can able to add as a CC copy, like as my sales manager 1 copy, my sales head 1 copy, my client 1 copy. Like that we can able to add some CC addresses up to 5. For example, I'm adding my email address over here. Okay, I'm adding my email address as a CC copy. Okay, now click on save button. That's it. So now we have added one action here. So whenever it is verifying this information to you, so it is indicating clearly workflow rule is there on the contact object. Upon creating a new contact record, it is indicating the criteria. Evaluate the rule when record is created. That means whenever a new record is created inside the contact object, it will verify if the contact record's email ID value not equals to null, then it is going to firing this email alert. It will send the email notification to the contact person's email ID. This is the action we have added. Like that, if you want to add one more action, then we can add over here. Okay, one more action we can able to add. And then if we are done with adding all the action, then click on done button. Okay, click on done button, which is available on the top right corner. Click on done button and then where my workflow rule is created right now, then make that workflow rule active. For that one, select that activate button. Click on activate button to make that workflow rule activated. That means from there, whenever I'm creating the record, workflow rule will fire, it will send the email notification. Click on activate button. So now my workflow rule is in active status because it is indicating active checkbox has been selected. Now workflow rule is in active. So from now onwards, whenever I'm creating a new contact record, it will send the email notification to the contact person. This is how we are going to preparing the workflow rule inside your Salesforce instance. Then, how can we test this one over? Testing process. Go to the contact object and create a contact record by providing the details. And then click on save. And the observation is, once a contact record has been created, it will send, it should send an email notification to the contact person's email ID and a CC copy to the CC email address. So whatever the CC email address I have specified, to that CC email address, it has to send one CC copy also. The same email notification copy also, it has to send to that respective CC email address. Now, so let me test this one. How can we do this? Now, so let's see the practical part right now. And then now, Sweta, could you please give me your email ID so that I will add your email ID in the contact address? Just to post your email address in the chat window. Thank you. So I'm indicating the first name. Okay. Sweta, last name some Kumari, for example. I'm entering some data. So now I'm indicating that first name as Sweta, last name some Kumari. Title, she is a project manager. Department, some development. Lead source is some web. So and then I'm entering the phone number of Sweta, some value. And the mobile number, I'm giving some value. Fax number, I'm giving some value. Email ID, I'm entering some Sweta's email address over here. And then I'm indicating the mailing address. Like as some flat number, okay, 12. And then some RK apartments, some Banjara Hills. Mailing city, some Hyderabad. Mailing state, some Telangana. Postal code, some 5000, some 25, some value. Country, some India. I have entered some value over here. These are the details which I have entered. Now, so as soon as whenever I'm creating this record, I'm indicating some Miss Swati, so Sweta Kumari. So in this case, what will happen? As soon as whenever I'm creating, click on the save button, my contact record will be getting created. Immediately in this contact record, it will verify. So my workflow will file. It will verify in this particular email address field, do we have email IDs exist or not? If yes, it will send the email notification automatically. And then if there is no email address is available, it won't send that email notification. It won't fire those actions over here. Now, so now here in this case here, I want to verify that. So before that, let me log in into my Gmail account also. Let me log in into my Gmail account also, because I'm also receiving one CC copy. I haven't saved the record. Let me log in into my Gmail account, then I will click on that save button over there. So now here, I'm saving this record. As soon as once I click on that save button, my record will be saved successfully. Immediately, workflow rule will fire. It will be sending the notification. I think Sweta has received one email notification to her email ID. I will be receiving one email notification copy over here. I will be receiving an email notification as a CC copy. Let me refresh my inbox now. I have received that email notification. Congratulations to Sweta Kumari. Your contact record has been created successfully. So it is indicating that, so now dear Sweta Kumari, thanks for purchasing the products from our organization. From today onwards, you are a very valuable customer to our organization. So here are your contact details. This is the contact ID, contact person name, designation, your development, the department, email ID, phone number, mobile number, fax number, and the address of that Sweta also. It will be adding this word. So from now onwards, whenever I'm creating any contact record, automatically my workflow will file. It will send the email notification. Sweta, have you received the email notification?
No.
Sorry?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So now here, whenever we are going to be creating the record inside the object, we no need to send the email notification. We can make it automated through with the help of workflow rules. This is how we are going to be creating the workflow rule, and we can test it. Now, so let me give some assignments. Configure a workflow rule on the lead object to send the email notification to the lead person upon creating a new lead record. So as soon as whenever I'm creating a new lead record inside my lead object, immediately I want to send the email notification to that lead person. One more, next. Configure a workflow rule on the case object to send the email notification to the case owner, case owner upon creating and updating the case. Okay, upon creating and updating the case. So now configure a workflow rule on the case object to send the email notification to the case owner upon creating and updating the case record inside the case object. As soon as whenever I'm creating a new record, whenever you are updating the record, immediately it has to send. Here what we can do, so here the criteria, the evaluation criteria. Criteria is what? Simply created. Here the criteria is what? Created, and every time it is edited. I have given the clue also to you. Okay, then just to create the email templates and then create the workflow rules and then send the notifications by automating this workflow. Okay, try these two assignments today. Tomorrow I will show you some more actions over there.